The rain was falling heavily outside. A man sat alone in his car, staring through the windshield. His hands trembled. His eyes were red from crying. Just 6 months earlier, he had been one of the most successful businessmen in the city. He owned factories. He owned properties. People respected him. Banks trusted him. Everyone called him a genius. But now, everything was gone. A terrible business collapse had wiped out nearly all of his wealth. $20 million. Gone. Years of hard work had disappeared in a matter of months. The newspapers called him a failure. Business partners abandoned him. Friends stopped answering his calls. For weeks, he barely slept. For weeks, he barely ate. The stress became so overwhelming that he fell seriously ill. One morning, feeling completely broken, he went to see a doctor. The doctor was an elderly man known not only for treating illness but also for understanding people. The businessman entered the office and sat down silently. The doctor noticed the sadness in his eyes. "What brings you here?" the doctor asked gently. The man lowered his head. "I don't know why I'm even here." The doctor looked at him kindly. "What do you mean?" Tears filled the man's eyes. "I feel like there is nothing left for me." The room became silent. The doctor didn't interrupt. The man continued. "I lost everything." His voice cracked. $20 million. I worked my entire life for it. Now it's gone. I have failed. I feel like I have nothing left. The doctor listened carefully, his eyes full of compassion. When the man finished speaking, the doctor leaned back in his chair. Then, gently, he said, "I understand this pain, but before you give up on everything, let's talk a little more." The businessman looked up, confused. "Talk about what?" The doctor smiled softly. "Tell me your story. Then, I'll tell you mine." A little surprised but curious, the man agreed. The doctor began asking questions. "Your parents, they must be furious with you for losing all that money." The businessman immediately shook his head. "No, my father wasn't angry at all." "What did he say?" The man smiled slightly for the first time. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, when I started, I had almost nothing. The little money I earned, you turned into 20 million. If you did it once, you can do it again. I believe in you." The doctor nodded. "I see. Then perhaps your wife is blaming you." The businessman shook his head again. "No, my wife has been incredible." "What did she do?" The man's eyes became emotional. "She gathered all of her jewelry, every necklace, every bracelet, everything she owned. She placed it in front of me and said, 'Sell these. You need them more than I do.'" The doctor smiled. "Interesting. Then surely your children are disappointed." The businessman laughed softly through his tears. "No, my daughter is still very young. When I come home, she runs to the door. She doesn't know anything about business. She doesn't know anything about money. She just hugs me. Yesterday, she brought me a glass of water and said, 'Daddy, don't be sad.'" The doctor remained silent for a moment. Then he leaned forward. "Let me make you an offer." The businessman looked confused. The doctor opened a drawer and pulled out a blank piece of paper. "I will give you $20 million right now, this very moment." The man's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yes." The doctor continued. "In exchange, you will sign over your father to me." The businessman instantly frowned. "What?" "Give me your father. In return, you get your 20 million back." The businessman became upset. "No, that's impossible. I would never do that." The doctor nodded calmly. "Then give me your mother instead." "No." "Your wife?" "Absolutely not." "Your daughter, then?" The businessman stood up from his chair, his voice rising. "What kind of question is that?" "Never. Not for any amount of money." The doctor looked directly into his eyes, his voice still calm and warm. "A few minutes ago, you told me that 20 million was everything to you. I just offered you exactly 20 million. So tell me, why won't you trade it for the people I named?" The room fell silent. The businessman suddenly understood. The doctor continued gently. "You said you lost everything. But your father still believes in you. Your wife still stands beside you. Your daughter still runs to hug you. Every single day, you haven't lost everything, my friend. You lost money. And those two things are not the same. The businessman felt tears rolling down his face, but this time, they felt different. The doctor stood and placed a hand on his shoulder. Listen carefully. If a man still has people who love him, if he still has his health, if he still has the ability to work, if he still has hope, then he is far richer than he realizes. Money can return. The people who truly love you cannot be replaced. The businessman sat silently, letting the words sink in. For the first time in months, he felt something he thought was gone forever. Hope. As he left the clinic, he turned around. "Doctor, thank you." The old man smiled. "Don't thank me yet. Go prove your father right." The businessman did exactly that. The next day, he returned to work. He worked harder than ever before. He learned from his mistakes. He started smaller. He became wiser. And 6 months. Later, he walked back into the doctor's office. This time, there were no tears, only a smile. The doctor immediately noticed the change. "How are things?" he asked. The businessman grinned. "I've already recovered half of my losses." The doctor smiled. "I knew you would." The businessman shook his head. "No, you believed it. I had forgotten." The doctor laughed warmly. "Sometimes people don't need money. Sometimes they simply need a reminder of what they still have." Moral of the story is, when life takes away your money, your status, or your success, don't make the mistake of believing you've lost everything. If you still have people who love you, if you still have the strength to try again, then your greatest treasures are still with you, and what was lost can be rebuilt.